Welcome everyone to another great episode of Brutally Honest. I am your host, Stitches MBC, and
your boy Brutal Key.
Is that the energy we're looking for? Is that the energy that they expected? How's everybody doing? Press 1 if it's live, press 2 if it's a replay. Welcome everybody. Today we're actually going to be talking about just 3 main topics. One of them, I'm just turned off from dating. We'll talk about that a little later. What we really want to talk about is the main topic, which is you will never grow if all you want to be is just comfortable in your life. You guys agree with that? You guys disagree with that? Let us know. At the end of the day, we'll respond to as much comments as we can. Be open-minded. We will do our best to be open-minded as well. We do not judge or criticize people out here. The other main topic of tonight's show is actually going to be is something that Keith had asked me about a couple of weeks ago. He was like, yeah, Stitch, but how can you know your self-worth when what you want is beneath you? Interesting. My killer out here, he actually made me think. Again, press 1 if it's live, press 2 if it's a replay. Yo, bro, how you doing, man? How you been,
I'm good, man. I'm actually blessed, not stressed. Let me just say that. How about you, man? Where you been at? It's been a while since I seen these shows. I
probably had short hair since the last time we did the last one. Nah, to be honest, I had to take like at least a 3-month, maybe probably like a 4-month hiatus now. I had to take a step back. You know, a lot of times and through our lives, we feel like we're doing something. We feel like we're doing the right things. And we lose sight of the end goal. We lose sight of the desire or the purpose of what it is that and why it is that we do what it is that we do. And me personally, me speaking for my own life, I had to really take a step back because it became a little bit overwhelming doing these shows every week. I was getting a lot of backlash from my own family and friends, you know, a lot of judgment, a lot of criticism. And I had to realize that, man, maybe I should have been more focused on the positives instead of the negatives. Maybe I should have been more focused on the DMs that I used to get as far as how much we've enlightened them, how much we've helped others and in their trials, tribulations, especially situations that they can relate to in their current times. Maybe I should have been more focused on that. The thing about that is that we care too much about our own reputations. Now, I had shared this to the group. I don't know if you have seen it, but it has said something like this. This is not verbatim, but it goes something like, when you care too much about your reputation, you limit yourself from being who you really are. And that really, I'm not going to even say really, that extremely resonated with me. You know, I was caring too much about my reputation, how I carry myself, how people view me. And when I projected myself in a certain way because I had a reason to deliver a message so it could affect those that are going through it, I was getting a lot of backlash and it affected me. Now that was my fault, that was my mistake, that was something that I had to learn from. When I said that quote, as far as when you care too much about your reputation, you limit yourself from being who you really are. How does that resonate with you guys? How do y'all feel with that? Do y'all relate or do y'all even understand? Even you, Keith, like, well, what do you think? How does that resonate with you?
Well, I mean, honestly, man, I try not to take the opinion of others wholeheartedly. I understand and respect everybody has an opinion, but at the end of the day, how I feel about myself is more important than how I think other people view me. So as far as like my reputation, for me, it's just being true to myself and just doing me. So I try not to really concern how other people take it.
And what do you mean about like, what is reputation then for you in your own opinion?
I mean, basically for me, reputation is what other people view you as, or what their opinion is of you based off either what they've seen or what they heard other people say about you.
Okay, I can agree with that. But then at the end of the day, you also have the power, well, not all the time, but you have a responsibility as far as how you portray yourself and how you carry yourself that allows people to think a certain way. Like, people will only think about you as far as what you have allowed them to see or have allowed them to know. And I agree with you. A lot of times people are just going to make their own assumptions on their own regardless of what, right? Definitely. What's good, Barty? Everybody tuning in. Press 1 if it's live, 2 if it's a replay. Definitely. How's your love life going, man?
My love life?
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh man. I'll keep it short. Matter of fact, I posted it on my Facebook.
So you're not gonna take the whole 30 minutes?
No.
Okay, that's what's up.
I'm single. We'll keep it as simple as that.
That's it? Okay, well, quick and short and straight to the point. Okay.
You want the 30-minute version?
Maybe next week. We'll see you again next week for that 30 minutes. So your love life is alright. That's what's up. Guess you're not gonna ask me. Nobody cares about my love life.
I was just about to ask you since I'm just finishing up with the shares. How about you, man? How's your life? Your love life going?
I feel like my love life is still stuck in 2020. And what I mean by that is that I feel like it's still being quarantined. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still staying away from everybody. It's still keeping the 6 feet. It's just protecting itself. Love life. What is a love life? Bro, to be honest with you, bro, let me ask everybody else this, because I know I'm not by myself here. Have y'all ever gone through moments where you just don't want to be bothered? Where you just want to be just left alone?
Yeah, I'm sure we all have moments. But, that's not how you want to spend the rest of your life, is it?
Maybe not. I'm just saying, without that moment, I understand. Let's not let that moment carry on into the afterlife, right? But and I feel like that's where I'm at now. Like now, okay, so you asked me how's my love life. All right, cool. Listen, it's going great. You know why? Because I realized that I had to start loving myself first. I realized that in the morning I had to look in the mirror, look at myself in the mirror, dead in the eyes and say, you know what? I love you. I realized that I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you know what? You're not perfect, but you should still be proud of yourself because you're not who you were. You're not even the same man you was yesterday. You're growing. I had to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself, you know, Stitch, you have a lot of flaws. You have a lot of imperfections. But those imperfections is what makes you unique. Yeah, you have flaws, and that's okay. As long as you have the awareness of there needs to be some improvements in your own personal life. At the end of the day, right now in my personal life, I'm just turned off from dating.
So in other words, there is no love life. Oh man.
Besides the love I have for myself and my kids and my parents, I guess not.
Yeah. There's always self-love, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what I was asking.
I know. But at the end of the day, it's my fault. Like if I'm still single or if I'm still searching, or if I'm, because this is where where I'm at now. I'm happy. I'm in a good place right now. But I'm speaking from the transition before I got to this point. And I had to realize, like, man, if I'm over here complaining of my love life or lack thereof, then I'm the only one at fault for that. And I understand it's not who's at fault or who's to blame, it's who's responsible. Again, I'm responsible for that, right? But we also have to understand that maybe throughout that time, I was actually receiving what I deserved, or at least what I felt that I deserved.
Come on, man. You'll find her, man. She's out there.
I'm not going to find her. She's actually going to find me.
This guy. I guess I'm more of a hunter because I was thinking totally different on that. Okay, well, let me say this then. How is she going to find you, Stitch?
You're right.
And let me say this. If you're not putting yourself out there, if you're, not allowing her to find you. She's supposed to come knock on our door?
Does she got her address? Do you put your address on your Tinder account? Because if she does, it's we're roommates and she knows exactly what I'll be. No,
it's not on my Tinder account.
That's not her. Okay. I don't know how those social apps work. The only dating app.
Maybe you should be on one.
I am. I'm on Facebook.
Oh.
And Instagram. Can't forget about Instagram. Isn't that social dating sites nowadays anyway? What the hell I need on Tinder or on POF? People even use POF anymore? Or the fish is all right now?
I don't even know. I think it started standing for something else.
But I understand exactly what you mean as far as how am I going to find her if I'm not even putting myself out there? And maybe the main reason why I didn't put myself out there was, and we have to keep it brutally honest, at the end of the day, I'm not responsible to keep it brutally honest with you guys. I don't have to do that. It's a decision that I make when I choose to do so. But who I definitely have to be brutally honest with at all times is myself. It's ourselves. We have to be truthful to ourselves.
Facts.
And at the end of the day, and maybe, bro, I was just scared, or maybe I had a fear of getting too attached and have my heart broken again. You know, and I'm saying me because I'm putting myself in this situation, but I'm actually speaking in a way because I know I'm not by myself. We all relate to that. Even if I'm not at that point right now, I was at that point, and I have to keep it brutally honest because I have to admit it to myself. And hopefully there's people watching, or let's be honest, there are going to be people watching this show that are actually going through that same phase. That's like, you know what, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm single, but they don't admit to the fact that they're just scared of having their heart broken again.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a factor, and a lot of times people will say, or you've seen memes out there that say, you know, people are breaking hearts or destroying good people, good men and women, because they haven't themselves healed from that bad experience or that trauma from before. Or like you said, they might not feel like, you know, they deserve the love. So they're putting themselves in situations where now somebody else is putting their all in and their love into them, and they're not reciprocating the same. And then when it don't work out, and what I like to say, they sort of self-sabotage themselves.
A lot of us go through a lot of that, but we don't admit it. And at the end of the day, bro, maybe you could agree or disagree with me on this one. Y'all guys are welcome to let me know as far as outlook, feedback, and perspectives on this. But maybe it's easier to just deal with somebody that you can't fall for. It's easier to deal with somebody that you have the power to prevent yourself from catching feelings from that person. Meaning, not that you don't have interest, because if you're dealing with somebody, there has to be a certain level of interest there, but not the interest of, okay, I'm going to be fully committed with this person, or I'm going to allow myself to become vulnerable towards this person and my own feelings and emotions. Isn't it easier dealing with somebody than that, especially if you got that fear of being hurt again? That's the perspective I'm coming from.
Well, I mean,
because I'm not saying it's right.
To an extent, it can be easier if, you know, all you having is a situationship or a friends with benefit kind of a thing where, you know, everybody knows, don't catch any feelings, nobody's getting emotionally involved, and it just is what it is. But, I mean, is that who you plan to spend your forever with? Somebody that, one, that's all they want from you, and two, that's all that they're okay with accepting, you just giving them that in return?
That's a good question. That's a great question. No, because at the end of the day, we should strive to find somebody that we can actually communicate with and build with, because it enhances our own potential and abilities to really fulfill who we want to be in our lives. Not to say that a man can't do it by himself or a woman can't do it by herself. Of course, we definitely can. But if we have that support with us, there's no limits to the places that we can achieve and the dreams that we can encounter on our way to this pursuit of living our life as happy as we can. You know, we have to raise our standards. A lot of times, like if you're saying, okay, so cool, I'm all right with dealing with shorty because I'm not going to catch feelings with her. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have lowered your own frequency to deal with such a person. Maybe instead of lowering yourself, you should maintain yourself where you're at and have them rise to the occasion. You know, maybe you should rise your standards. Maybe you should be more picky. Maybe you should stop being so comfortable. Because if you're always comfortable, how do you grow?
You don't.
So are you telling me that there's absolutely not one scenario, one situation, one example? I'm asking everybody here. There's not one example where y'all could come up with to tell me of a situation where you actually can grow from being comfortable? I don't know. I still haven't figured it out. That's why I'm asking this question.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there can be a scenario. But in the world of hypotheticals, it's also, you know, unicorns and you know, mythical creatures. But in speaking the reality, like, no, that's not usually how growth happens. Growth happens when you're not comfortable, when you get pushed to a breaking point to where enough is enough, to where what was before isn't enough anymore. You won't settle for that. You, like you said, rise into an occasion or stepping your own self standards or your own self worth up, saying, okay, I know I deserve better. How do I get better if I'm not willing to do better myself?
Amen.
And you just sort of, once you get in that mindset, things start to change. And I always say, we can do anything if we put our minds to it. That's even comes with growth. But you can't be comfortable with where you are in order to achieve that. Because the moment you become comfortable is the moment you stop growing. It's where you plateau.
I was thinking about this question. I was pondering about this question for about maybe a month now. And I still cannot come up with a scenario where you can actually grow from being comfortable all the time. I'll come up with an example off the top of my head. Let's say you're working, right? And you got a raise at your job. Now you're making twice as much as what you did. Let's just say it like that. You're making twice as much as what you did. So now you're good. Now you're comfortable. Now you're content. Now you could pay for all your bills. Now you could got money for your savings. You even got money extra where you could go take trips and you can go out and you could buy everything that you really wanted to buy. A nice house, a nice car, flashy rings, clothes, whatever it is, to stay fly and swiped out. But there has to come a point where after that, don't you become complacent where you're at in your life? Where you're going to want more and you're going to want more. So where's the balance that we have as far as you deserve more or you should be just appreciative of what you already have?
I mean, you sort of have to have both. In order to get to that next level is when you appreciate what you have, but you do have a desire for more things. I mean, isn't that what dreams are about? Isn't that what the imagination is for? Taking things, getting the things that we've always wanted in our lives to be happy.
Agreed. What's poppin', Michelle? What's poppin', Chris? Catching wreck with the fellas. I heard what you said on your last show. We're gonna tune in. I think this is your cousin.
Yeah.
What's poppin', Al? What's good? Everybody tuning in. I need to see them ones so I can know that y'all here, so I can ask y'all a personal question if y'all open to even answer it. And press 2 if it's a replay. We will respond to all of the comments. You will never grow if you're comfortable. And maybe the main reason why you are comfortable is because you're living in fear of the unknown. You're living in fear of because you don't know what to expect. So let's say the same scenario. Okay, I'm at this job. I got a raise. I'm making twice as much. I'm not able to buy anything. But now I'm at this spot. It's been like 5 years. No more raise. This is where I'm at. And now I'm comfortable and complacent. But now I have this fear, or because I'm saying now I'm good. I don't need to get another job. I'm already good. But is that really me being content, or is it me that I have a fear of the unknown? But what happens if I go look for another job? Is it going to be stable? Am I going to make just as much money? Am I going to be happy? Am I able going to deal with the daily stresses from the operations of that company? Because I'm good now. And that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe you're so comfortable because you have a fear of the unknown.
And that is one of the big factors. I mean, people, and not for nothing, I mean, it's human nature to be scared of change. And I don't mean to necessarily say to have a routine per se, but people do become complacent with the same thing, the over and over again. Once things change, it tends to throw them off track or off beat. Now, what I will say is this. There's two types of people as far as leaders and followers.
Okay.
A leader will take a change or something different in the day, totally different than a follower would. A follower wouldn't necessarily see a change and wouldn't know what to do, wouldn't know how to handle it, wouldn't know how to react. And like you said, at that point, the stress level becomes too much. Like, why even put myself in that position? A leader is going to see that as, okay, I can figure this out. I can figure out how to do this. And then once I do, other people will do it too. So it all depends on how you look at that situation. Me personally, I'm going to take the change for what it is, and I'm going to look to grow from it, because for me, I take every experience as a lesson to begin with. So good, bad, and different, no matter what, I'm looking at how I can learn from it and grow from it so I don't make the same mistakes. Now, a wise person do learn from the mistakes of others. So you gotta have some type of knowledge of what other people have gone through or been through. And that's why when we talk on this show, I think we bring a lot of awareness for people that may not have the different perspectives that we bring. And I think that's why this is very inspirational for people also. So if you tune it in, definitely take the seeds of knowledge that we be given on this show, the gems, so to speak.
It's a lot easier for people to learn from other people's mistakes than their own. Mainly because it's a lot easier for us to criticize and judge others from their flaws and what they did or what they didn't do than it is for us to look at ourselves and, man, I made a bad decision. It's easier for us to learn from other people than it is from ourselves. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that that's my perception of, because that's how I've seen things. That's what I've experienced things as well. And if that's how it is, then so be it. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the results. And if you're using that to become a better person, then more power to you. I believe that people become content and complacent because maybe they don't have enough self-belief within themselves. They just don't believe that they can do it. They just don't believe that they can grow. Maybe they don't even see growth. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And I mean, I would definitely add to that with the belief thing that in some ways they really just taking the easy way out as far as like, and you mentioned it, multiple times in this conversation of it's easier to do this or it's easier for that. And all of that, like you said, all of that isn't necessarily categorized with change or growth. Growth isn't always easy.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. For somebody who's ever, grew bamboo before, they know, you're going to drop that seed in the ground and it's going to be a few years before you actually see any results from that.
See the fruits from that labor.
But if you don't take care of it as if you know it's coming, it won't come. So, growth can take time. It's not going to be easy. And I think people are too content with taking the easy route. Why make it harder on themselves if they don't have to?
I also believe that comes with lack of self-love. And it's just like how you asked me, but how can you even know, what self-love is or what your self-worth is or even what your self-value is when what you want is beneath you? So let's continue with that same example as far as, so you had this job, you just got a raise, you're making twice as much as you used to, you're comfortable, you're content and things like that. But yet, you're content and you're complacent and you're comfortable with what you already have, not knowing that you can do better. So technically speaking, the job that you have, which is the job that you want, technically is really beneath you. So like how you said, how can you know your own self-worth when what you want is beneath you? And it goes along with one of the things that we said. You just don't believe in yourself enough. You're just oblivious to the fact of what your self-worth is. You really don't know what you really deserve. We learned a lot in school, or maybe better yet, verbiage. We memorized a lot in school, right? But they never taught us on how to deal with toxic people. They never taught us on how to really value ourselves. They never taught us on how we could look in the mirror and love ourselves for our own imperfections and our own flaws. They never taught us that. We had to learn that the hard way, if we learned that at all, which I hope we do, especially if you're at a certain age. Essentially, it doesn't even matter about age. I just hope that we come to a certain point in our lives when we can actually learn, understand, and realize, have an epiphany as far as I am worth it. I am somebody. I am put on this world for a higher purpose. I can do better. I still have room to grow. I still have more love to share, more love to spread, more hate to eliminate, more hate to diffuse, more violence to try to diffuse the situation. We do have that power, but it takes a lot of times. It takes a lot, like how you said. A lot of us, we rather go through the easy route because it's easy. It's the easy way. We take the route of least resistance.
Yeah.
And we avoid the ones that we actually have to, for example, wake up extra early to achieve our dreams. It's easier for us to hit snooze on our alarm clock than actually wake up at the 5 o'clock power hour and get the workout in. Or finish that last chapter of that book that you was getting into. Or go into, like for example, into the studio and start preparing things as far as content. You know, as far as being an inspirational content creator. You know, things like that. We're laughing because that's like an inside joke and things like that. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot. And a lot of us, I'm not gonna say we don't have the courage, which a lot of us we don't have the courage to actually admit it and actually do better for ourselves. But a lot of us we don't even have the energy to put in the effort to be better because we're good already. My bills are paid. Okay, cool. So I don't have a Mercedes-Benz. I don't need that. I'm good in my Toyota Tercel, whatever. Like I'm good in my Prius. I'm good. I'm happy. Are you really happy or are you just comfortable?
Just comfortable.
At the examples we're putting out there, right? Because there's some people, they're okay with that and they are just happy. But if you feel like all you really deserve is to be on Section 8 and rely on government for food assistance or whatever, and you're good and you're happy with that, you're just comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people right now that's sitting home comfortable collecting unemployment because their unemployment might be more than what they was making at the actual job.
So let's take a shot to all those that didn't have that luxury, like I didn't.
Yeah, me either.
Okay. You guys agree, disagree? Press 1 if it's live, 2 if it's a replay. But honestly, bro, how can you know your self-worth when what you want is beneath you?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing you have to ask yourself, even, you know, when diving into that question is what you want what you need? If it's not, then put value on that and prioritize it in your life. I mean, you can't just... And I, you know, I'll give an example of and I'll throw myself into it. Let's say relationship wise, you know, I've been with girls that my family or my friends have seen and was like, hey man, like you could do better.
I'm surprised you even introduced them to your family. What happened? How did you do that? Right? Don't lose your train of thought, but I really want to know what made it okay for you to introduce them, because you already knew your parent or your family wasn't going to approve. Yes or no?
I mean, sometimes. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still going to be me. So I'm going to do what I feel is best for me. So I've had family and friends like see girls that I've dated or been with, and they be like, hey man, you can do better. And in my mind at the time, you know, I'm looking at it as in they just not seeing. No. They just not seeing what I see in her, right? Okay. But I'm making excuses for what it really comes down to, and that's knowing what my self-worth was, and not saying that person might not be a good person. I mean, that might be the qualities that I saw in them. It's just with my family knowing who I am and the people around me that know me, knowing that I can do better, made me have to look at it myself and say, well, damn, I need to step my game up, because if they can see it and I'm not seeing it myself, then maybe I need to revalue myself and see where my actual worth is. Like you said, and it all starts back with the self-love.
At the end of the day, that's the main topic of this whole show we're doing, self-love. Having enough self-love, how to build the tribulations, the hardships of attaining that self-love. At the end of the day, that's what this particular episode is about. I do agree with you as far as prioritizing the need with your want. And with that comes realizing or finding out where's the origin of the want. Where does your want come from? And when did that want surpass your need from it?
Definitely. And I mean, you could also look at it like this too, in that as far as, are you tolerating or are you just settling for it? Because sometimes it falls into that comfort zone.
It's kind of hard to distinguish tolerating and settling. The only way me personally, I can distinguish them is a time frame of it. Like, for example, he or she did this. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a pass. I'm gonna give him a green light. I'm gonna tolerate it this time, but next time it ain't. But if it continues happening, that's when I feel like, okay, now I'm just settling for it. Because me personally, I'm not a confrontational person. I do what I gotta do and I say what I have to say whenever I have to say it. You feel me? But most times, 9 times out of 10, I'm not a confrontational person. I'd rather just ignore it. To be honest, I'd rather just ignore it. And I'd rather not even respond when I'm in an emotional state of anger, when I'm pissed off, or when I'm not myself. I'm not going to give somebody the power for me to act out of my own character. I'd rather just ignore you, respond when and if I feel like it. Period. So where does the origin of the want come from, and when did it surpass the need? This is a self-evaluating question which is going to be different for everybody.
Oh, definitely.
You know, it comes a lot with pleasure versus your desire. Is it just a pleasure and desire? As far as what we're talking about, I would distinguish it again with the time frame, right? Pleasure is just a moment. This is a moment. This is what I wanted. But a desire really fulfills your own needs in life. Like, this is what I desire. No, this is more than just a want. I feel like a desire is on a higher frequency than I want this. Instead of, no, I desire this. If I want it, oh yeah, I'm going to go do me to go and get it. But if I don't get it, then it is what it is. There is no if I didn't get it when it comes to a desire.
Yeah.
There is no, I didn't know, oh, that didn't work. All right, cool. Then I'm going to go back with another plan. You feel me? That's how I would distinguish the differences between desire and want and pleasure.
I mean, I guess you got to look at it like this, and this is what I would say as far as if there is something you want and it's not necessarily on your level, or you may not feel it's on your level, forget what other people as far as your family and friends, like I was saying. But if you feeling like it's not on your level, I guess the only way you can determine whether or not that want, even if it is something that might not be where you are, is if there's a way to elevate from it. Whether you can help that person elevate from it and get to your level, or if you yourself can elevate from it and learn from it and grow from it and become better overall.
Let's take a shot for that one. Let's take a shot from that one. Like a clumsy jeweler. Keep dropping them. Keep dropping them. Press 1 if y'all watching live so I can ask y'all something real quick. At the end of the day, today we spoke about, have y'all ever gone through moments in your life where you just don't want to be bothered? A lot of times when we do go through these moments, a lot of people take it personal. But what's wrong? Are you okay? But why are you ignoring me? And things like that. And a lot of times we shouldn't be taking things personal. At the end of the day, people have their own lives. People have their own choice as far as the decisions they make and how they want to live their own lives. Maybe nothing is wrong. They're just overworked. Maybe they're just overwhelmed. Maybe they're just busy. Whatever it is, everybody, each and every single one of us has to take a step back so we can recharge our own batteries. Especially if you're a single parent, a single mother, a single father. Especially if you have a family and you're the only dad that's working at this time. If you're the only mother that's working at this time. It's different times now. We're not living back in the 80s or 70s, not even in the 90s or 2000s now. You know, nowadays it really has to be a partnership. It really has to be a team. Look, all right, cool. So she cooked and all that? Bet. I'll wash the dishes. Okay, shorty, all right, you know what? I'll pay the car note. Shorty's like, bet. I'll pay the insurance. We're both making it. We're both getting to that bag. We're both making money. You feel me? An example that I had, I'm not going to mention who it was, but he would say him and his wife was always working, and he would say he would pay for everything off of his check, and his wife's check will always go all towards savings. But the savings was always a purpose. Listen, I'm going to take care of all the utilities, the bills, and everything. Whatever you get paid, we're going to put it to a savings, and that's going to go to the house that we want to buy, or the car that we want to buy, or the trip, exactly, whatever it is, that's what we're going to use it for. She could have been making more money, But that was the arrangement that they had. And at the end of the day, now things need to be attained. We also spoke about how you will never grow if you're always comfortable. How? When you're content and you're complacent. You're good when you're at. And like how Keith said, you're actually oblivious to the opportunities of growth. You don't even know that you can grow.
Yeah.
You have a lack of awareness. And we also spoke about, but how can you know your self-worth? How? When what you want is beneath you. We spoke about the origins, about that, and things like that. Next week, I'm going to go live. I'm going to have a recap of this show. The following week will be Sunday around 7, right? 7-ish. We'll keep y'all updated on that. And it's funny because I just thought about this topic right now because we was just talking about it on the pre-warm-up. And I feel like it's really important, bro. Remember we was talking about why men commit suicide?
Yeah.
Like bringing more awareness towards that. I understand that women also go through that, and not to deviate or discredit anything like that, because at the end of the day, it's extremely serious and a sensitive topic. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk from a man's perspective as far as men behavior patterns and how men react towards certain things and daily stresses, and why we feel or why we think why some men actually go through that route of just ending their own lives, especially when they got a wife and they got kids. What really made them feel like game is over? I want to talk about that. I'm going to take 2 weeks to really prepare a show about that. You already know now what the deal is. One Efforts Live, 2 Efforts Replay. We appreciate all the shares. We love y'all all. I will be tuning out. Your boy Stitches NBC. That's the Umber Classics Music
And
with
your boy Brutal Keith.
And it's been another great episode of Brutally Honest Unfiltered. Thank y'all all. We love y'all.